Hey everyone, Edward Evil Elf Boy here, just signing in for a micro tutorial on creating hip-hop beats in Reason. And I just have to say it was really awesome watching Darren work his magic, working beats like that. So legendary. He's worked with the most amazing people, and I really enjoyed watching what he did. Definitely a good learning experience. So what we're going to do is we're going to end up using Reason to create our beat. So I'm just going to open up Reason here. And it's going to look a little different than Dave's version because I have version 4 and he has version 3, I believe. So it's going to look a little bit different. But it's all going to turn out the same once we get going here. So and hopefully I can do Dave some justice by kind of creating a West Coast beat. First thing that we need to start with is a mixer. So I'm just going to go down to my mixer here and grab one of these and throw it in the rack. And I need a drum computer, so that's where I'm gonna make my beat. Okay, so whenever you're using Reason and figuring out how you're gonna dump the audio out, there's lots of possibilities. You can do it the way that Dave did it, where he used stereo stems. You can use mono stems. You can rewire it into a DAW. So there's a lot of different ways you can do this. My particular way is I like to put each drum track to a different channel on the mixer, and this is easily done just by hitting tab, and I can just deselect those there. I don't need those there, and just go 1 to 1 just like this. Just drag and drop. I'm just connecting each one of these to the mixer, so now each individual sound will go to their own individual channel on the mixer, and I'll show you why when we start exporting the sounds out. Cool. So now we have some stuff wired in, and I'm going to bring in some samples. I have a nice kick sample and a couple of nice snare samples from the producer here. That if you kind of read this backwards, you'll kind of know where it's from, but you didn't hear me say that. So there's a kick, and we're going to go ahead and I'm just clicking on this folder button and just bringing in these samples just by selecting them and hitting OK, browse. Grab that, hit OK. Okay, so I'm just going to first work on the beat here, just the kick and the snare. It's kind of the meat and the potatoes, and we want to make sure that that's working good for us. So, and I'm going to do that by programming in the redrum sequencer. It's very easy to use, just kind of a standard step sequencer. And I need to pick a tempo here, so I'm going to pick 88 for me, and that should be nice and groovy for our hip hop beat. So just select sample that you want to trigger. It's pretty simple. Just hit select and just start placing it in where you need to place it. So I can just hit run, and I know I'm going to want kick on 1 there at least. Okay, so it'll be my kick pattern. I go to the snare sample, and you'll notice that it clears this out because now we selected this channel. So that's the kicks. And here's going to be the snare. So I'm just going to put this on 2 and 4. Pretty good. Now I'm going to add this snare to it, and you're going to see how it's going to really bring it out. Nice and beefy, just like Dave Aaron did it. Okay. Working pretty well. Alright, so let's keep on going. I'm going to go ahead and add some hi-hats. So I'm going to just use some factory stuff for this. I'm going to go to the Reason factory sound bank, and we're going to go to drum kits, exclusive drum sorted, and go straight to hi-hats. And let's see here what we got. Kind of find something dirty sounding, and that's very 808-ish sounding, so I'm going to use that for my closed hi-hat. And we're going to pick an open hi-hat. So just doing the same thing, just hitting the browse button, going in here and go to the open hi-hats, and just want something kind of dirty and gritty. And that is definitely dirty and gritty right there. So okay, I'm gonna start plugging in a pattern here. So let's see what this does for us. Oop. Want to be doing the close hi-hats. open a hat. Okay, I'm gonna play with the length here a little bit because I don't want it to go overboard. There we go. That's much better. Okay, that's sounding pretty good. All right, so I like that. I'm gonna add a bongo track and maybe some congas. So just gonna browse and let's go to exclusive drum sorted again and percussion other. Okay, and let's just find a bongo sound. What do you know? Don't want it with reverb. I want it dry as possible. So bongo ecstasy 7. Let's use that one. Okay, let's try that out. So we have that selected. So go ahead and play again. Place these in. Now I'm going to change the dynamic here. Watch, I just click on this and it goes to soft so I can get this kind of effect. See, if I were to go to medium, it would make it sound the same. Too mechanical. So go to soft. And I'm going to throw on the shuffle button and watch what the shuffle button does. Gives us a nice little swing to it. That's why I love the redrum step sequencer. It's great. Okay, let's add in some congas. Use that one right there. Okay, play with the length here a little bit. And the pitch. I think that sounds the best. Play with the length a little bit. Cool. I think our beat is sounding pretty good. Okay, so we can put that away for now. Okay, and let's do a piano thing like Dave did. Let's bring in the NNXT Advanced Sampler. And I'm just going to go to the browser here, and we're going to pick the grand piano. Alright, so we have a little piano sound here. Alright, and I'm going to bring up my sequencer now, because I'm actually going to be playing this in real time. And I'm going to quantize during record, just to help me out a little bit, because I'm not the greatest player in the world. I'm going to detach my sequencer just by doing that, which is actually really simple. Just click on this right here and it detaches it for you. So we could have two separate windows to work with. So that'll be quite handy. Just kind of zoom these up a little bit so we can see what we're doing. And name out your track. So this is going to be the piano. Okay. Alright, so let's go back to the beginning here. And we have 8 bars selected. So that should be good for what our purposes are for the micro lesson here. So I'm just gonna kind of put on the click, put on some pre-roll, and just kind of go to town here and see what I can do. All right, let's do it and record. And that's it for that. So we can just trim up this little thing here. And let's take a listen. Let's put our loop on. Let's put our back to the start here and take a listen to it. Okay, so the only thing I want to change is the length of this a little bit, so I'm just going to double click to get in here. Just kind of zoom in a little bit. And I'm just going to lasso these notes around and just pull these out just a little bit. So this way it's... There we go. That's better. Okay, so back to arrangement view. Okay, let's keep on working here. Let's try to get some bass going. So we'll go with a maelstrom for that. And let's see here, we got the maelstrom. Let's bring that sucker in, and we're gonna go ahead and open up bass sound here, and we'll use this one. So, okay. Nice attacky, nice low end. And of course we want to call this bass. Okay, so back to our sequencer. And see here, I'm just going to kind of audition this a little bit and see what I can come up with as far as bass line goes. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Let's just go with that. Okay, let's record. Okay, so we'll take it out of record. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's turn our click off real quick and just listen to how that sounds so far. Okay, so simple enough, right? We're just playing in the notes the way that we think sound good to us, and you could, if you don't have a controller, I have a little tiny mini nano key here that I'm using, and if you're, if you have a little keyboard controller, this is probably pretty easy for you to play in. If not, you could always draw this stuff in with a pencil tool that Reason has, which I'll show an example of that. We'll create a pizzicato kind of track along with this. So that should be kind of fun to do. So I'm going to take a quick short break, think of some more ideas, and we'll be right back. Okay, so I thought about it, and no West Coast beat cannot have a West Coast lead. So we're going to make a lead. So I'm going to throw in the Thor, the mighty Thor, and I'm just going to grab a patch here and gangsta lead. We're going to use that because it doesn't get any more gangsta than that. Alright, so let's check out some sounds here. Okay, Okay, so I'm just going to audition, just kind of play along and see what I can come up with. So I'm just going to call this lead. And even though reason is pretty uncrashable, I'm going to go ahead and save my work. So I'm going to call this hip hop beat. Save that to my desktop. Okay, so I'm just gonna play along here and come up with a little lead. See what we can do with this. So here we go. Okay, so I like that. That's going to probably work out for what we're doing today. Let's put my click on, and let's get ready to record. Okay, so let's just take a listen back to it without the click, see how it works out. Let's go back to the beginning here. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and use my little blade tool here and slice right there. Go back to my pointer tool, click this, delete it, and just click, hold Option, and drag it, and that should be a perfect little loop. So let's take a listen to it. Okay, that works pretty good. So let's go ahead and put our pizzicato track. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab an N19 sampler. And we're going to go for a nice pizzicato sound. Let's go for that. Pizzicatos are very cool. So we'll just call this Piz. Okay. And let's see what we can come up with. I'm just going to kind of play with this here and figure out my notes. Go. I'm just going to play this back. I'm going to mute the lead. Just don't want to have that. Okay, so I'm just going to play it in real quickly, and then I'll show you how to draw it in, just because it's going to be a little bit of a time saver. So I'm just going to play 2 little iterations here, and let's get them good, and we'll take it from there. So let's record this in. Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna trim this back, just like that. Option drag this ahead, and we should have it. So let's see here. Okay, so that's how you would do that. And if you want to just write them in, all you have to do is just double click, and you would just come in here and just zoom in, touch, and just move this back. And you just use the pencil tool, just like that. So if I were to go ahead and just delete these out, I can just come in with the pencil tool and just draw them in. Just click your notes in, so like that. Just like that. So let's see what that sounds like. Okay, that's drawing in notes. Very, very simple to do in Reason. So that's pretty much that. So I think that we're good there. Now I need to make some decisions on what's going to be stereo and what's going to be not stereo. And I know my drums are not going to be stereo, so I'm going to work on that first. So at this point, I can go ahead and just unmute that, and we can get rid of the sequencer for now, because we're going to be working on bouncing the audio out. So when I play it back, okay, so I know that my drums are going to be, they're going to be monoed out. So it's a little trick that you can do, because the way that Reason works, it always bounces out everything in stereo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do odd even panning, and I'm going to just solo out these particular channels. So I'm just going to bring the kick and the snare out, and I'm going to bring this all the way to the left, and I'm going to bring this all the way to the right, just like that. So I'm going to listen to these two, and I'm going to look at the metering. And in my experience, usually what you want to bring into a DAW is audio that's about peaking at about -6 dB. So we're going to kind of shoot for that, and I've noticed that right when you get into the orange here is where 6 dB is. So I'm just going to kind of listen and adjust my levels here a little bit, and get this ready to export. So I'm just going to listen. Now you're going to hear them on each side of your speakers because they're doing odd even panning. So bring the master down here. Okay, now you don't want to gain this up too much because you want to leave headroom for your inserts. So when you bring it into a DAW. Okay, so that's perfect. All right, so I'm just going to go to File, and I'm going to go Export Loop as audio file because we're working within a loop boundary. So I'm going to call this kick and snare 1, and hit save. And I'm just going to do this as a regular WAV file, and I want this to be 24-bit because I'm going to bring it into the DAW at 44.1 24-bit. So just hit export, and it does that really quickly. And then I can go ahead and mute these out. We don't need these anymore. So same thing with these. Just going to solo these out, odd even panning. Take a listen to it. Okay, so that looks good. Same deal. Just file, export, loop as audio file. And this one's going to be snare 2 and the bongo. So hit save and export. Okay, it's going to export that out. So now we can unsolo these and mute them. Let's move on to our next ones. So these are going to be the conga and the hi-hat that's closed. So let's take a listen. Okay, so same thing. So we just export loop as audio, and this is conga. Let's just use the and closed hi-hat. Save it, export it, done. Unsolo these, mute. Let's take a listen to what is here. I think this is going to be the last audio file that's mono. So we're just going to go ahead and just throw this to the left. Just take a quick listen. So one side will just have nothing on it. That's okay. Okay, level looks good. Export loop as audio. We'll just call this closed hi-hat. Export that. You can see them here popping up on my desktop. And we'll take a listen to the piano and see if that's stereo. If you want to keep that stereo or make it mono, probably going to keep it stereo. So yeah, that one we want to keep stereo. So let's go to File, Export Loop as Audio, Piano, export that out. Some of the bass. I'm guessing there's not much. Now that one we can. That one we can go as mono. Okay, so just move to the side there. Okay, so File, Export Loop as Audio File. Call it Bass. Save. Export that out. Okay. Let's take a listen to the lead. The thing with this is that we have to go to our sequencer now, and I need to shut the loop off, and I need to export this as a song. So I'm just gonna pull this out a little bit there. So File, Export Song as Audio File, because we want to get the delay trail there. And this is going to be our lead, no panning, and that's a stereo file. So that's done. I'm going to do its thing. Okay, so we can cut off whatever is left of that, and let's take a listen to our pizzicato sound. Okay, so this one here, we can go back to loop. So let's bring our loop all the way back to what we had before. So right there at bar 9. And File, Export Loop as Audio. Piz. Right to stereo. Okay, great. So now we are all done with this. And in the next little segment, what we're going to do, I'm going to save this out. We're going to bring this into Pro Tools. So that's where you're going to see the magic happen with all the stuff that we did with the odd even panning. So stay tuned. Okay, so we're in Pro Tools, and I'm going to go ahead and start bringing in those exports that we did from Reason. So I just wanted to show you here that my session setup is 124-bit, so it matches those exports perfectly. And the only thing I need to do is change my tempo so it matches what we made the song at. So that's 88. And we're going to go ahead and start bringing in these audio files. So Shift Command I. And I'm going to go ahead and find my audio. So here we go. Macintosh HD, users, desktop, and there they are. So just going to bring all these in, convert them, done. Audio files folder, and we're going to bring them right into the regions list, and I'll show you why. Because all these bounce out as stereo, so we're going to be doing some interesting stuff. So to the regions list they go. And I'm going to bring out some of these tracks because I know that they have blanks on them. So the bass and the open hi-hats have blank audio on them. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete this one and delete this one and put them on their proper tracks. So that goes to the bass, and this goes to the open hi-hat. Cool. Then we have the conga and the close hi-hat. So I'm going to bring this up one. Close hi-hat and conga, and there you go. And I need to flip them the other direction so that they're on their right tracks. We have the kick and snare. We have the snare 2 and the bongo. There we go. And you see how easy this is. Pizzicato track goes on the pizzicato, that one's stereo. Piano goes on the piano track. And then finally the lead goes on the lead track. And you'll notice that this one's a bit longer, so I'm just going to kind of shorten it up here. Just by doing a quick separate, select, delete. And then we can go ahead and duplicate these out. So here we go. Command D to make our song longer, and that's that. We are ready to listen to our song. So hope you enjoyed this. Be sure to check out my Reason tutorial and my Pro Tools videos for Multiplatinum, and I'm gonna leave you guys with a mix, and I hope I can mix this as good as Dave Aaron can. Take care.